This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mailbag here on the WWE Podcast. It is Friday the 13th. It is 2024. Welcome to the Mailbag. We're going to get going here, and we're going to give you guys the voice that you deserve here, as every week the Mailbag does come to you, and it comes to you because of you. All right, so if you want to join us on the Mailbag, if you're new, the Mailbag is available to you. Either if you can directly message me on Patreon, you get priority, by the way. All patrons do get priority. Or you can message us directly at mailbag@wwepodcast.com. Both ways are available. So let's start with those patrons, and let's actually give a shout out. I think we had some new patrons. Let's check it out. Christopher K., welcome to the family. All right, Christopher K., hope you enjoy your free trial, and maybe join us on the paid side of things if you like us. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to Dan. Dan C. over on Patreon. He says, "Hi Matt, super late to the party on this, but only started watching The Boys recently. This surely has been raised before, but Cody Rhodes has clearly built his whole character around Homelander. If you've not seen, he portrays himself as an all-American hero, but behind the fake smiles and Politan-like answers, he hates everyone. It fits perfectly into your Cody being a heel in the making narrative, and I'm also now confident that this is a long time. Incidentally, Austin Theory's whole character is also based on someone from the same series. So you think it's a long game? Okay. I'll get to that in a minute. Just to follow up from a point made a few weeks back on WWE gearing up for the move to Netflix, this switch to 2 hours is just another example of them toning things down, ready to then explode in a few months' time. Got it. Okay. Come January 1st, I reckon we'll see a new set, new commentary, McAfee, and probably opening credits once again. I cannot be bothered with this long game they have going on with Jade, hashtag set Bianca free. Thank you so much, Dan, for supporting the show and for writing in. I'll reverse everything you said here. I'll go in reverse. Jade Cargill, I've spoken at that at length over the last couple of shows, that Jade Cargill is and that's actually, no, I didn't say it. That is a great way to summarize it, though, that Bianca is being held hostage by this Jade experiment. And I still think I know what they see in Jade. I see what they see, but it's a matter of how long can they hold Bianca back, who's a surefire main eventer. She's solid in her character, although I'd love to see a heel turn. And they're making a sacrifice here in hopes that Jade can rise to the level that they hope she can. But as far as, let's see, them going to 2 hours, apparently, though, on Netflix, they're going commercial free. There's not going to be commercials on the 2 hour Raw on Netflix starting January 1st. So their ad revenue that they have made over the last 3 hours, for how many years they've done that, is clearly being made up in the contract value of Netflix or incentives for people subscribing to Netflix and watching how many views are on Raw. And I'm sure there's incentives monetarily in the contract they have with Netflix. So they're making that up one way or the other. I know that a lot of fans don't give a damn about ad revenue. They don't care. But you need to understand that when it comes to WWE, that is one of their primary sources of revenue. Beyond the fans' ticket sales and merch sales and everything else, video games, that is one of their primary ways that they make money, and they are clearly feel that they don't need to put commercials in, as they have, or they're going to 2 hours and they can make up that revenue somewhere else. And as far as I have the idea that Cody Rhodes is building his character around The Boys, I've never seen it. I'll take your word for it. But his character feels ultra unauthentic. It feels extremely contrived and manufactured. Even though he's good at delivering his character, I don't like the character, as I have made very clear. And he'll be a perfect heel. I can't wait till they turn Cody heel. Now, when do they have that happen? Probably you're looking at a year. Maybe, I mean, as soon as WrestleMania 41, of course, you can't ever count WrestleManias out because they are, moments that happen at WrestleMania that you want to happen at WrestleMania, and it's a perfect time to do it. But I don't know if I would do it with Cody there. You want to squeeze all the money out of this babyface run that you can and then turn heel. So we'll see. But thanks, Dan. All right, let's go to Jeff. Jeff T. He says, I really like what they're doing on Raw with the announcers in the ring. Takes me back to old times when they would announce with microphones. Could we see a potential tag team run with Jay and Damian? On SmackDown, I'm slowly moving to the dark side on Cody. I think it's bad when you want to see the heel beat up the champ. It all started when he told KO, I love you in the ring. Like, really? Bad Blood is going to be awesome. Looking forward to some blood in the Hell in a Cell match. Love this podcast. It has got me through some tough times these past couple months. Well, I'm glad we can do whatever we can to help everyone out through the day. And even if we're a small part of the day, I appreciate that. And again, you have no idea who you're reaching here. I'm speaking into the void in my office, and no one's here except me. And you never know who can hear, which is scary and also cool. So, but Jeff, the idea that they don't have, first of all, if they don't have blood in the Hell in a Cell, it'll be a massive missed opportunity. There needs to be blood. And I think that we will see blood. It's more than needed and more than warranted, even more importantly. Damian and Jay. Yeah. Now, I'm all for that team. I'm all for Jay. Here's what I'm all for. Jay doing something. I'm all for Jay doing something that is long-term. Jay has been in a good position because the fans still support him and love to see him. And Jay is in a good spot when it comes to that, but he hasn't done anything that has had any staying power. And I think a lot of that has to do with, well, he's going to be a part of the bloodline and the reuniting of the bloodline. And we got to wait for him. He can't be in anything long-term. So I think that right now, because of that, he's not going to be in a tag team championship run at any time soon. Thanks, Jeff. All right, let's get to the next email. And DJ Kuzmo, he says, and just like that, main event Jey Uso is the number one contender to challenge Braun Breaker for the IC title. But seriously, it's been a couple of times that this year Jay has been in the been in championship opportunities, and yet the creative team did not position him to win. Let's rewind back to the semifinals of King of the Ring as Jay lost to Gunther. Then at Money in the Bank, Jay was on the roster for this event and creative did not book him to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Also, when Damian Priest was champion, Jay was in a championship match at Backlash in France. If you see the trend here, there's been a lot of start-stop pushes for Jay to win a singles championship. And with that said, I don't see Jay winning against Breaker, and I don't see why creative would have given Dragunov the win in the Fatal 4-Way, or why creative could have given Dragunov the win to be the contender for Braun's championship, since he and Braun had some past interactions on Raw alongside Ricochet. Plus, it seems like Jay might be joining the Terror Twins, but what about the possibility of him rejoining the Bloodline and the OG? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Everything is leading to that reunion. So nothing Jay does right now is going to have any long-term consequence, because that reuniting of the Bloodline is likely going to happen in the next 4 to 6 weeks, because shortly thereafter, after Bad Blood, we are right into Survivor Series, and that means Bloodline versus Bloodline. And that's when you'll see the reuniting. So we're about a month and a half away from that happening, and that means over the next 4 to 6 weeks, Jay can't do anything that's going to have that kind of impact, which sucks because there's a lot of opportunity there, and for all those opportunities, championship opportunities you mentioned, a lot of those opportunities, you kind of went in going, well, that doesn't make sense for Jay to win. Well, that champion just won. Jay doesn't seem to be in a position to win it yet. Jay's just had bad timing. And the good thing is he will win, right? He's going to be truly what he says he is, the main event. Right now, he's a name only main eventer. He's not actually main eventing anything right now, but he will. I have no concern about Jey Uso. He's just the timing of him and the way championships have been positioned and all of that, with just, he's not at the right place at the right time yet, but it'll happen. Finally, I just want to quickly respond to MVP's comments about booking Omos. That's a name I haven't said in a while. And I totally agree with MVP, because what's the point of positioning Omos as a star attraction and he's only being booked rarely on house shows and not making any TV appearances. Another thing that bothers me about Omos's booking is that it doesn't make sense him booking him as a foreign heel, since MVP mentions that Omos is the total opposite of a heel persona. Omos is very agile for a big guy at 7'3", 385 pounds, and he should not be compared to Paul White. I just don't understand Big Show. I understand why Triple H don't understand why he does not want to repackage Omos as someone that could be very useful on either of the weekly shows, especially on NXT, where he could potentially align with the North American champion Obafemi. Oh boy, I don't know if I said that right. That's how you know I don't watch NXT. Since both of them are from Lagos, Nigeria, or have Omos align with Robert Stone's stable, the Robert Stone brand. Anyway, I'll stop here before I go on further rant. DJ Kuzma signing off. Have a great weekend. See y'all in the Discord chat for the season premiere of Friday Night SmackDown on the USA Network. Thank you, buddy. Omos, look, I think they missed the boat on Omos. At the same time, I don't think anyone was, like, no one really is missing him. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. There's a lot of guys that aren't here that we don't miss anymore. And there is something special about Omos. And he does have more to offer in the ring than I think a lot of us give us credit for, because of the fact that he's 7'3", yet can move around like he's 6'3". But they definitely missed the boat on him. I don't think they got everything out of him they could, but that doesn't mean I think they could have made him champion. I still don't think that could have happened. And I think right now WWE is in a position where they don't feel that kind of wrestler has a spot on the roster. Everything has been sized down, and everything has been geared more towards athletic, gymnastic style pro wrestling. I actually don't like that. I don't. I'm not all about the athleticism. Everybody today is about this is awesome chants and how many reversals and Ricochet style wrestling. I don't like that stuff. I appreciate it. It's impressive, but it doesn't really, to me, maximize the emotional connection you can have with a match when it's just a lot of gymnastics and it's a lot of a lot of just what kind of moves are going to be done in the match. How good of a match can we have, instead of letting the story do a lot of the legwork. I'm more about great stories, not necessarily about great matches, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and everybody's got their own brand of wrestling they like. All right, let's talk to Freeman. And he says, with Odyssey Jones being removed from the roster, the New Day plot is almost certain to take a massive swerve. Maybe they are building for a split, but how do they do it now is not going to feel... I don't know if I read that right. I wouldn't be surprised if they call the whole thing off at this point and kept the group together. I hope not, dude. Please, let's not. I don't even want to put that out in the universe. I shouldn't have read that. No, the group needs to be dissolved. It was dead 5 years ago. I mean, at this point, it's just a ghost of a group that at one time was a very successful group, and they're living off of their previous success, I think. And you could revive it by doing a massive swerve, which they keep mentioning their November 10-year anniversary. I think that's where you look towards for that. With Bad Blood around the corner, it seems like this is a PLE made for Raw. We have 3 matches confirmed from Raw and a number more we could pick from. I have to believe at most we will get 2 more, and both will be from SmackDown, but I can't think of any SmackDown matches that make sense for the PLE, so I wonder who will be forced into a quick rivalry from SmackDown to force their way onto the card. I can think of a couple. I mean, what about Solo Roman? I don't think they're going to go there, because right now it looks like it's going to be... That would be deserving also of maybe Hell in a Cell, but you have Punk and Drew. So I guess you could do Solo Roman if they want to have just a singles match, or, Roman and Wrestler X, versus Roman. You also have Randy Orton maybe facing Cody Rhodes, but it seems like I'm wrong on that front. You have Kevin Owens floating around. SmackDown does seem a little bit underrepresented, but here's the thing. Even if it is 3-2, 3 Raws matches on Bad Blood and 2 from SmackDown, here's the thing. That makes sense mathematically. You have 3 hours of Raw right now as it stands, although that's changing soon, and you have 2 hours of SmackDown. That's perfectly represented, actually. It's exactly what you'd expect going into a PLE. There's more to talk about on Raw right now because of in terms of a number of minutes, they have more content. So from that perspective, it would make sense. But yeah, I mean, I hear you that they don't go beyond 5 a lot of times, and I'm fine with that. I know a lot of people are like, well, this match isn't on the card, that match isn't on the card. Doesn't bother me. I'm okay with it. And also, what about the women's championship? There's that women's championship floating around. That could happen. We got Nia Jax Bailey. I still can't believe Charlotte's not back. I mean, did she have her leg amputated? Is she learning to work with a prosthetic? I'm half joking. I mean, it looked like she was progressing incredibly fast, and then it's like, yeah, I could have come back 6 months ago, but I'm enjoying life, which is totally cool and fine. But it looked like based on her progress from her posts that she was ready to go. So maybe they just actually amputated it and she's working with a prosthetic. That's what it feels like. All right, Freeman, thank you. All right, let's talk to Dino. He says, I meant Anthony DeMarco last week, not Michael Ritter, in response to his bash in Berlin after dark. Yeah, I figured. Second, I can't believe Odyssey Jones got fired. Like, what the hell? Why? He impressed me, and I was looking towards seeing him develop. I also thought he was a breath of fresh air in regards to the New Day, so I find this one to be strange. Well, here's the problem. Odyssey Jones had allegations of domestic violence. So that's why. Now, allegations aren't fact, but today's day and age, you can just you can accuse somebody of something, and a lot of times a public organization will just suspend you indefinitely pending investigation or outright fire you. And maybe the evidence was strong enough that the WWE decided, no, we're just firing you. I mean, I don't know what the evidence is, but it is kind of sad today's day and age that, shouldn't it be innocent until proven guilty? And instead, these organizations take it a guilty until innocent stance. Again, unless the evidence is overwhelming and they feel that they want to get ahead of it. And that's fine, too. It's two schools of thought here, but the culture right now does lean towards guilty until innocent, especially when accusations are made. And even after that person clears their name, if they do, that stain still stays with them. It's really kind of an awful thing, and a lot of times false claims are made. I'm not saying this one is false, just generally. All right, is it me, or has there been a record amount of triple threat matches this year? There's been 2 the last few weeks on Raw, and there was another on SmackDown last week, and then there were a few leading up to the King and Queen of the Ring, if I remember correctly. It would be interesting if someone did the research and shared the data with us. Yeah, that's good. How about that's the homework assignment to you guys? If you want to have the privilege of listening to this show, again, you must do the research. How many triple threat matches have there been over the last, say, 6 months in WWE? Televised. If you don't answer me, then you're banned from the show. How I'm going to enforce that? Well, you'll see. The answer is it's impossible, but all right. But I really don't know. That's a good question. I'm really looking forward to the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix in a couple weeks. It should be interesting. Yeah, interesting to say the least. I mean, interesting is probably the softest word we could all use. But yes, absolutely. Here's a quick suggestion about your new show. Why don't you do some War on Truth episodes talking about some WWE stars' political views you disagree with, explaining why and going in depth. You could lay out all your current grievances, too, about what some of the women wear and go into depth on these goals set by the company. Who owns WWE, which you've mentioned before, just a suggestion. I really like that. Dino, I like that. And those that aren't sure what we're talking about, I have another podcast called The War on Truth. And it's on every platform that you can think of. We're the one with the logo that has the laptop and the American flag. I do say that because there are more than one of the shows named that. But I like that concept. Bringing in a little bit of wrestling into this podcast that does cover culture. I think that's a good one. I like that. Keep an eye out for it, Dino. All right. Lastly, here's a John Cena scenario where he shockingly wins the World Heavyweight Championship after everyone expected him to lose in his so-called final match at a return of the Armageddon PLE in December of 2025. He comes out at the start of Raw and announces that he's going to continue until he loses the title. thus allowing him to continue and have his final match at WrestleMania 42. Apparently, he's still going to be contracted to WWE beyond 2025 anyway, so it's just a fantasy booking, if you will. I think we can all agree that December is a weird time to retire, so this idea allows him to continue until WrestleMania. Okay. Well, I have no problem with that, but the issue will be John Cena going back on his word. That is something he is very cautious of and almost never does. Having John Cena say that he's done in December, and he's been very clear, not ambiguous about when he's going to stop, and that is December of 2025. And it is a very weird time. It's not a big event at that point. In fact, that's kind of like the second lull of the season before the Rumble ramps up. So perhaps he's doing it to step aside for the WrestleMania season just before it begins. Perhaps that's what it is. You know, that's likely what it is, where he gets out before WrestleMania ramps up. I don't know how or if they're going to do that. I would advise against it, even though it would be very poetic for him to end at WrestleMania. So we'll see. And also he was very clear too that this will be his last WrestleMania at WrestleMania 41. That's his last WrestleMania. So I don't think it would benefit him to really go back on his word here. All right. Another patron, Matt B. He says, "Hey, it's been a while since I emailed you. Hope all is well. I just wanted to say I hope American Made is done with the Wyatt Six and can get the push Chad and the Creeds deserve. I wasn't a fan of the Brays, so this Wyatt Six team does nothing for me. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Thanks for reading the email. Have a good weekend. Thanks so much." If you didn't like the Wyatt family, then this is going to be this will be like a second layer of boring for you, like 2 levels deep of boring. Because if the Wyatts didn't do anything, the whole group here of the Wyatt Six is predicated on that previous group of the Wyatt family. So you're definitely going to find this very boring. I mean, you are going to be bored to tears. So, yeah, this is, I don't know what to tell you. If you're not interested in it, then you're not interested in it. I will be fair in saying that this doesn't grab me every week like, oh my God, I got to see what they do. I'm mildly interested in the Wyatt Six. But the question is, how long can they live on Bray's legacy before they have to find their own identity? Maybe they don't ever have to. Maybe this is just a forever tribute to Bray, and that's cool too. I don't know what the ultimate destination is for this group. Maybe they don't even know. But I will give you that they're not a super interesting group outside of how they look in our, their costumes and their entrance. But the characters individually aren't super deep and interesting yet. At the same time, I wouldn't disband them. I do find them to have a bit of a gravitational pull on camera because of what they're trying to continue the legacy of. There is that part that is holding the group together, and I do wonder though, what is the ultimate goal for this? We don't know. But thanks, Matt, and we will stop there with emails. I think that's it with the emails, and let's get to the voicemails if we have any. Let's see what's up.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name. As I take it to my 9th episode of the Joe Hendry Report. That's right, episode number 9. As we're getting closer to episode number 10. And me personally, I'm getting closer to see my idol Joe Hendry live and in person on Sunday, September 29th. Believe in the Glory, live in Queens, New York at the NYC Arena. Now, before we get to the whereabouts of Joe Hendry, I must mention and must make the correction. Last week, I said that how Joe Hendry, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and Mike Santana got got the victory against the system at TNA Emergence. Sadly, that was not the case because of Eddie Edwards as he hits a low blow to Matt Hardy and then the Boston Knee Party, and then 1, 2, 3, the system get the victory. So to make a correction, the system got the victory against Joe Hendry's team at TNA Emergence. Now we fast forward to this past Thursday night on TNA, in which Joe Hendry and Mike Santana was in the main event against Moose and JDC of the system. Moose and JDC got the victory because of Josh Alexander, as Josh Alexander, that's right, the same Josh Alexander, hits another low blow to Joe Hendry. He did the same low blow to Joe Hendry at TNA Slammiversary during the Eliminator match, costing Joe Hendry the victory to become the new champion. Now we see that the feud has rekindled with Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander, as this coming Friday at TNA Victory Road, live from San Antonio, Texas, we're going to have a matchup of Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander. That sneaky, that snarky, that maniacal Josh Alexander. Can Joe Hendry get the victory? He has been on a 3-match losing streak ever since losing at NXT No Mercy. Now, it seems that this has to be the win that Joe Hendry needs to get back that momentum, to get the wheels back going, to get the We Believe movement behind him. So, with that being said, like always, say his name. Most importantly, always believe, and you have to remember the words that Joe Hendry always says: anytime, any place, and any show. And most importantly, do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe, and peace.
DJ, man, just when I think I get that damn song out of my head, you give it to me every week. It's like my weekly dose of living in my head rent-free. Thank you so much, buddy. And keeping us abreast of Joe Hendry. I'm still jealous you're going to be able to meet him. Should be quite an experience. You got to let us know how that goes. And I appreciate all of your updates. I'm sure all the fans here are too, because listeners, I shouldn't say fans, but listeners of the show are, because, to be honest, again, most of us don't listen or watch NXT. Most of us, not all, of course. You guys, some of you are just crazy watching everything, and that's awesome. But I hope that this does provide a value to you guys, because we're getting to watch a guy going from NXT up to the main roster, being able to give us updates from the ground up, to his eventual main roster debut. And once he does make it to the main roster, we can still continue with Joe Hendry. Of course, that's up to DJ. After that, maybe he'll be able to handpick somebody else. And it's just fun. It's just fun to be able to track this stuff as we start from somebody who is working in NXT all the way to hopefully a championship run in WWE's main roster of Raw or SmackDown. And I think a Rumble debut. That's what I think for Joe Hendry. So, all right. Thank you, DJ. Again, this is crazy. This is maybe the shortest show we've done for the mailbag in a long time, about half the length. But that's okay. I've got another show coming tonight. It's Wrestle Magic. I've got another one in the chute. That Wrestle Magic show is going to be dropping soon, and it's going to be talking about the upcoming contract expirations and renewals within WWE. So you really get still the same amount of audio as we have another show coming. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening. Again, super short show, but no problem. If you guys want to contribute, mailbag at wwepodcast.com. Go on over to Patreon and get yourself an ad-free experience, because that's the best way to go and listen to the show. You don't have to get through any of the ads. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it, and we'll talk next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.